Thank you so much to all the speakers tonight. You guys, you're the theorists, the experts, and the politicians. Well, I'm the regular Joe. I'm the normal person on the street.
The most important person.
Well, not important enough to be allowed a vote in the referendum, was I?
I know.
I am amazed, and thank you very much that you have clearly heard our call to ring-fence our rights. So good evening, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to tell you about the In Limbo project. Huge thanks to Mary for organising this evening's event. We are a distinct and separate group, but we work, of course, very closely with the 3 million and the British in Europe, and also with many other groups, such as the European Movement, and we all mutually support each other. We're a not-for-profit project entirely funded by donations and the royalties from book sales, and today we have presented 1,000 books to politicians and journalists throughout Europe. And I'm not here alone. I've brought 300 friends with me, 150 in here and 150 in there. We are the contributors to these 2 books, and we represent just a tiny sample of the 5 million citizens in the UK and the EU 27 countries who are in limbo and who have lived in uncertainty for now 938 days. That's over 30 months. 2.5 years of not being able to plan for the future. We do not know what our rights will be in April. A little over 2 months from. Add to that our approximately 15 million family members who are British citizens, and you will find that almost a third of the British population has been silenced. In order to find each other and to amplify our voices, we started the Facebook group Our Brexit Testimonies back in March 2017, just 22 months ago, and published the first book, In Limbo, on the first anniversary of that referendum. We then I've got copies with me for purchase actually, if anybody wants any. In 2018, we collaborated with another group called Brexpats Hear Our Voice, who are a part of British Europe, and we published our second book called In Limbo 2, Brexit Testimonies from UK Citizens in the EU. Both our books are available on Amazon, and the In Limbo 2 testimonies speak of the anger of the British citizens resident in Europe, who feel not only betrayed, as we do, but they also feel ashamed and cast adrift. They're incensed that we are being used as bargaining chips, and as you can see, I have the chip on my shoulder to prove it as well. Allegedly, this was done to secure their rights, but it doesn't serve any other purpose than to divide and rule. Instead, they stand in solidarity with us. They say, not in my name. And we are twins. We are mirror images of the same coin. Actually, we at the In Limbo project have shown them more care and consideration than their own government, and in some cases their own families back home here in the UK. We focus on the human side, and we aim to touch hearts and open minds by giving a voice to a few of the individuals who have been portrayed as a depersonalised mass of migrants. I think you all know what I'm referring to. Which is actually and factually incorrect. We are citizens, British people included, and we are all equal and benefiting from the same rights. Why should we stay and pay tax on our income if we are not truly welcome? Many of our group members have embarked on their Brexodus. This is Luciano's farewell note, which resonates with us all. I came here as a citizen of Europe within Europe, but things have changed. I have experienced how the media have stopped referring to me as an EU citizen and started calling me an EU migrant. This was done to dehumanise me, and xenophobia is being normalised in order to get rid of people like me. Today I'm voting with my feet. Today I'm leaving the country for good. I am doing it out of principle. It is my love declaration for the European project, a union of countries in which its citizens can feel at home wherever they are. Goodbye, UK. You were good to me, and then you weren't. Those were Luciano's words. Well, I, for one, am getting tired. I'm exhausted. I've been working very hard, unpaid, and missing my children's childhoods into the bargain, to make British people aware of how all our rights are being undermined. These are all our rights. They are your rights. I do this, to quote Edmund Burke, because for evil to prevail, all that is necessary is for good people to do nothing. In years to come, I will know what I did to stop evil. So will the many campaigners up and down the country. I wonder if you will as well. I'm sure many here will. How do you think I felt having to tell my daughter that when she starts secondary school in September, I might no longer have the right to live in this country? And it's still not guaranteed at this point in time.
I know.
So I have a simple question for you. Where is home? Is home where your heart is? That can be in many places. Or is it just the place where you live? Well, I have lived in the UK for 30 years, 27 of them feeling at home in Merseyside. And I had acquired the right to apply for citizenship back in the 90s. But this government stripped that right from me in 2011 without informing me. This hurts, and I am bitter. Now they want me to pay to apply to stay in my home of 30 years. An application for settled status can be rejected, and the rules can be changed at will by the Home Office, which is exempt from data protection, and hence does not even have to disclose who they share all my personal data with. And if you would like to see the Freedom of Information request that was sent to them, I can give you the link to it. The EU settlement scheme represents a breach of human rights. But who will hold this government to account? I'm sorry to say the EU has been not strong enough on this. And I get the feeling that you are on. You see it similarly.
I see people all the time, week after week.
I proudly call myself an adopted Scouser. Even though I wasn't born here, I had the good fortune and the privilege to fall in love with Liverpool as a student. And after more than 20 years, I'm still in touch with a group of friends from uni, where only one was originally from Merseyside. And yet we all met as equals and got on, welcoming each other. The locals taught us incomers to be just as open and welcoming as all of Merseyside and the Northwest. And I know that there is a tradition of people coming into this region and making their lives here and becoming part of the fabric of the community, going back to time immemorial. So it's not just about Brexit. It's also about the hostile environment and how our human rights are being violated. 25 years ago, I campaigned with the NUS against cuts to student grants. I didn't have to do that. I didn't receive a grant, but I had an allowance from my dad, and I worked in Germany during the holidays, earning 3 times what I could earn here, by the way. So I didn't come here for a lifestyle of, rate of income or any of that. And my fees were paid for by the German government. I campaigned in solidarity with my classmates. And now I am asking for your solidarity in challenging the Brexit this government is delivering and the way in which everyone's human rights are violated. Wherever and whenever you see racism and xenophobia, please call it out and protect the victims. And I'm saying that a little bit in answer to you as well, Ian, about how the referendum result seems to have unleashed this monstrous atmosphere of xenophobia. It's always been there as an undercurrent, but nobody ever took it seriously. It was a bit of a joke, but suddenly it's serious. Please reflect and ask the EU citizens in your life, your work, your neighbourhood, how they are. Please talk about politics, what the European Union means and what Brexit inflicts. Times have changed around us, and where do you come from is no longer the innocent question simply expressing interest and curiosity. I hope we can claim it back in the spirit of celebrating our diverse origins and backgrounds. Elsewhere in the UK, they welcome the foreign foods, but not the people who make it. And now the Northwest appears to be an isolated bastion of friendship in a sea of indifference and xenophobia. Please let us remain united in diversity. Brexit is not a done deal, but time is ticking. We have 70 days until Brexit Day. I mean, listening to you, I'm aware of the work that has to be done before we can even have another referendum. 70 days is not enough, so I'm not sure how we're going to do it. We have just 70 days to turn this around. So please write to your MPs. I think writing to MEPs is just as worthwhile, is it? Even if they've already expressed support for the people's vote, ask them to support a referendum on Theresa May's deal versus the option to remain. Yes, it was voted It was voted down, but it is a more viable option than a cliff edge, no-deal Brexit without a withdrawal agreement. Give them evidence and proof in the form of letters and emails that this is what you want, and for the 5 million of us and the young people aged 16 to 18 to be enfranchised. Now, before I finished, I would like to leave you with a couple of quotes from the Italian poet Dante, who inspired the title and cover illustration of the books. As you can see. His Inferno starts with the words, "Midway upon the journey of my life, I found myself in a forest dark, for the straightforward pathway had been lost. In the end," he said, "Uscimi a rivedere le stelle." We came forth to re-behold the stars, and I've got it written on my back too. You always remember. Because that's the wish from the In Limbo project team, that we all, one day, re-behold the stars, as content and settled as we were before the referendum. Thank you very much.
Well done.